Okay, if you think you're too old to get started, girl, today's guest is going to bust that myth. I have Renee Landers, who is a 71, yes, 71-year-old NPC bikini competitor who did not start competing until she was 69 years old. So in today's episode, we talk all things mindset, self-limiting beliefs, diet, training, nutrition, and how she embodies the attitude that she has today, which is one of tons of positivity, motivation, and I know you're going to love her. So let me know what you think.
Hey there, my name is Renee Landers, and I am 71 years old. I live in Houston, Texas, and I got a little late start on my journey with fitness, but I've managed to catch up pretty well. And really, I'm a native Houstonian. I was a single mom. I have one son. He's like 38 now, and he actually runs the business that I ran as a single mom for like 40 years. And so I'm thrilled about that. But really, I've always been into fitness in one way or another, especially as an adult. And I was a runner mostly as I was in my late 20s, my 30s. I ran like 6 miles every morning, with friends early in the morning at Memorial Park. And I ran till I was 5 months pregnant. So I love to run. That was my thing. I had tried other things, some weightlifting, aerobics, whatever, but running was sort of my thing. So so basically, once my son was born, I started running again at, a month or two after, and I could get up to 2 miles running. And then my lower back it was just excruciating pain. And I could not get any farther than 2 miles without pain. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, you have some serious lower back issues and you need to stop running. And of course, people, I was devastated. That was like my awesome, fun thing I did. You got your endorphins flowing and all that. And that was sort of my respite. So I was pretty much devastated, but of course I stopped running and I started walking, and this was when I was about 35 years old. I had my son, later in life, I guess, for some people. So I had to figure out what else am I going to do that I can still be fit and not compromise my back. So I just kind of worked around whatever I could. Still did some aerobics. I walked a lot. I lifted weights a little bit here and there, but I just kind of struggled along really for like 20 years. And during that 20 years, I was growing my business, being the single mom. But I knew fitness was important to me. I wanted to feel good all my life. And I knew that if I put in the effort, it always made me feel better. So finally at 58, after I tried everything else, I had a lower lumbar fusion. So my L5 and S1 were fused together. Now, I was not excited about that. I was scared to death, actually. And this neurosurgeon I went to, he looked so young. It's like I asked him, how many of these have you done? And he'd done a lot. And that was his one surgery. It was called the T-lip. Anyway, so he fused my L5 and S1, just small incisions in my lower back. And he said, okay, well, get your rehab and you can do whatever you want. He did not have any restrictions for me. Well, he had two restrictions. One, don't run because that's just too jarring. And he didn't feel like yoga was good for me because that could stretch that fusion, that I had. So those are the only two things that he said he was, wanting to restrict me on. But the rest of it is like, do whatever you want to do. So I was 58, 59. I got my rehab. And I was kind of rocking along, and I still didn't really know what I was going to do. But as I got closer to 60 and I was going through menopause and I was feeling like most menopausal women do, I just knew, okay, I've got to get it together. I want to be strong and healthy. I don't want to feel bad. I want to have energy. And so I went to a doctor at Baylor College of Medicine, which is in our med center near here. And these doctors were really great. And I did get on hormone replacement therapy at 60 years old. And it was a game changer for me. It's not for everyone, but Basically, I'm on testosterone and estradiol, and that's a separate whole. We could talk for hours about that.
I talk about it a lot here. Yeah.
Oh, it's a hot topic for me
Very,
too.
very.
And I think it's important, but and we can talk about it as much as you want. So he put me on HRT. And the other cool thing, he said, okay, there's all these pillars of health. And one of them is your fitness. And I said, yes, I want to do something. And he actually introduced me to Dustin Jackson, who trained me 11 years ago, and he is still training me today. And luckily, Dustin, he was convenient. It was not too far from where I live. And Dustin has all kind of credentials. He trained a lot of athletes, a lot of injured athletes. He has his master's in kinesiology. And so he was really the perfect guy to train me because he knew how to work around my surgery so that I wouldn't be injured and wouldn't do anything stupid in the gym. So Dustin, I was fortunate enough to have this in-person trainer. And that was at 60. Okay, so I'm thrilled because I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have a strong core. I'm going to be able to have fun with my grandkids. In fact, my granddaughter was born while I was still in the hospital recovering from that surgery. She came about 5 or 6 weeks early. I was planning on being ready for her, but she came early. So anyway, so once I started training with Dustin, he was just so nice. He's just such an easygoing person. And he was very careful. We didn't do anything crazy. I think that's the other thing that I tell people too. A trainer is best if you can get a trainer. Get a trainer. Get a qualified trainer, not just someone who lost 50 pounds and thinks they're a trainer. That's not what you want. You want someone who knows what they're doing, who has the credentials, and who you're accountable to. It's a relationship you develop. And I would say that trainer is the best money I have spent in my life, really. You can spend money on fancy country club memberships, all kinds of things, but there's nothing like spending money on your health. And that's directly, I'm taking care of him and he's taking care of me. So anyway, so I started with Dustin, nothing crazy, just kind of this and that, I'm 60, 61. We're rocking along here with my training. I'm training, with him 2 or 3 times a week, and cardio, whatever. And I'm then about at least 15, maybe 20 pounds heavier than I am right now. But I didn't have this goal. Hey, I want to get skinny, and I didn't have a goal. I just knew I wanted to be strong and fit and be healthy with my grandkids. So anyway, so time went on, and I guess being the person I am, which I didn't really realize, sort of competitive, but I said, okay, well, what else can I do, Dustin? Okay, I'm doing this all the time. What else can I do? What is there a next level? And he said, well, Renee, I can see you on stage. Those were his words. And I said, well, what are you talking about on stage? And so he said, well, bodybuilding competitions. And I'm going, well, what is that? And so then I did my research. Okay, well, I've heard of it. I remember Rachel McLish from long ago. I just adored her.
Yes.
That's when I was so young, and a few other ones. But I never actually said, okay, I'm gonna be a bodybuilder then. But I looked into it. I said, oh, well, that's pretty cool, but there's just no way I can put on a skimpy, sparkly bikini and get on the stage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, in front of a bunch of strangers and have to show my butt. I mean, you have to do all that. It's like,
yeah,
I can't do that. I said, no, I can't do that. So this went on for years, 61, 62. Every year we talked about my goals, and he'd say the same thing. And I'm just like, I can't do it. I mean, I was judging myself. I was holding myself back. Because it's like, well, who's doing this in their mid-60s? That's crazy, a woman doing that. What would people think? I was thinking all those things. And, I wasn't sure what I thought about it all. But I was continued to lift weights with him. We still did the same things. Time went on. Still, I'm not going to compete. And when I got to be about 65, I went to Germany with a girlfriend. We had a great time. I came back and I looked at some of the photos that we had taken. Just me, just the usual stuff, touristy things. And I saw myself and I'm going, I know, I can do better than that. I don't want to be a plump senior citizen. I mean, yes, I had some muscle, but I just looked kind of soft and round and, 15 or 20 pounds heavier than my 5-foot frame is today. And I said, oh no, I got a better me in there. And so when I came back from Germany, I saw those pictures. I said, Dustin, I'm ready I want to lose some weight. I know I'm doing okay. Hey, I'm fit for my age, but there's better. I can do better. So I still remember. Okay, so what I did was, and this I think is important for people. I have a Fitbit. That's what I wear. That's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I set on my Fitbit to lose 1 pound. That was my goal, 1 pound. And I set that on there, and then I worked. He gave me some extra things to do, and I lost the 1 pound. And then I set a goal to lose another 1 pound. And I did that over and over and over. And in 4.5 months, I lost 10 pounds. And it was noticeable. Okay. And people at the gym were going, what's Renee doing? And I'm at a tiny gym. It's just trainers and their clients. And none of them are young, buff people. But people noticed it. And, it's like I had just made up my mind. I'm not going to let myself just be, I reminded myself of like a wrestler or something. I just didn't feel good about me. So I did that. So that was in my mid-60s, and I thought, oh well, I had this wrong belief that when you're older, you just can't lose weight, and you just let it. You're just going to be the way you are, and this is part of getting older and all that. But I just couldn't handle it. I thought I'm strong. I can do better. So anyway, so I lost that weight, and really that got me to thinking, I can do more than I thought I could. I just did it, and it was pretty amazing. And it was more noticeable. My fitness was becoming more noticeable to me and other people too. So then as I'm getting to be 68 and the pandemic hits. Okay. So, that just freaked me out. It's like, oh no, I cannot let that COVID thing ruin my life or rule my life. I'm not going to be gaining a bunch of weight. Just because COVID has happened. So I got Dustin to come. I have a big back patio. He came to my house. He trained me and a few other of my gym friends in my backyard on the patio for a few months while the gyms were closed, because I just was not going to let that get me. I'm not going to do it. In fact, it's like I doubled down. No, I'm going to make sure I do not fall into that trap. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And then that's when it triggered me. Okay, I said, okay, Dustin, before I turn 70, I am going to compete. I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what I did. I decided when I was 69, it was like May. And I said, okay, Dustin, let's find a show. I mean, I didn't do it the way you do it. I said, I travel a lot. I have a lot of activities. I'm a rodeo committeeman. I do all kinds of stuff. So let's find a show that'll be convenient to my schedule, which I had no idea, that's 4 months off. And yes, I'm in pretty good shape. We had been talking about competing, and I had already been doing some of the things, but we had to get serious then. So I hired a posing coach, a nutrition coach, and we got started. And that was like in May. And then August 7th of whatever year that was, when I was 69, 2021 maybe, I competed in my very first competition. It was an NPC show, the Leila Classic in the Woodlands, about an hour drive. So I didn't have to fly anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I competed in a few different categories. The oldest they had was, I think, 50 plus. So I was in there with 20 women, 20 years younger than me easily. But I competed in a few different categories, and I didn't get anything in the Masters, and really the show was almost over, and I had already put on my robe. It was kind of the end. And I remember the expediter said, well, come on, you need to get on stage. There's something else is going on. This is not over. Mm. So I get up there, and I had competed in one of the other ones, the open class A, which is, all ages. Mm-hmm. And class A, I'm 5 foot. So, okay. So we get up there, and I actually got 6th place, and I got a 6th place trophy. Here it is.
I love that.
The Leila Classic.
That's so awesome.
My very first show ever. And I was in shock because I thought, okay, I'm going home, and then this happened. But the cool thing was that I had been visualizing receiving a trophy from the time I started training. It's like, what are the odds? I mean, first, I'm way older than people. I've never done a show before. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I just visualized receiving a trophy. As crazy as it was. And I just feel like this happened because I just had it in my brain that it was going to happen. So anyway, that show was the beginning of me falling in love with the whole bodybuilding community. And when that happened, it's like, I feel like I found my people, Diane. That's what I say. I found my people. I have lots of wonderful friends that I travel with and I love to dance with, and I do all kinds of fun things with. And they are different than this group of people. And I love them, but I love the bodybuilding community because we get one another, right? You don't have there's not any excuses. There's no judgment, whatever. So anyway, I feel like at 69, I found my people. And who gets to do that at my age? That's just crazy, unbelievable. And I just still am just thrilled about the whole thing. And so from there on, that was like the beginning. Okay, when can I do another competition? And since then, I've done 9 competitions. And I've done like 4 angel bikini fashion shows, and I competed in 4 NPC shows. 2 of those were Masters Nationals over the last 2 summers, which was with 60 plus women. And then I competed later on this summer with GBO, Global Bodybuilding Organization, which is they're in like 21 countries. And I competed in a show about an hour and a half from here, and I got my pro card this summer.
Amazing!
With GBO.
Congratulations! I love that.
Believe that. I wasn't expecting it. My thought was, I want to go to a local show and I want to get some hardware. I haven't had any hardware in a while, right? NPC stuff. I've been running up against those 60-year-olds, and I just got a whole lot more than I expected. And so that was my last show, and I'll do my pro debut next summer with GBO. And I'm just having the time of my life. I cannot even tell you how grateful I am that this happened,
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I took some chances, and really lifting weights is really the reason I'm talking to you today. And it's a wonderful thing.
I love that. This checked off so many questions that I had for you. But I think the biggest question I have for you is, people can listen to the story and they can think, wow, she's amazing, but I could never do that, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Something that I'm gathering from everything you just shared is that you have this internal fortitude that a lot of people struggle with. And I would be curious as to how you built that, right? This internal fortitude of like, I want this thing. Yes, I'm here. It's here. It's not impossible. I'm going to do it. Is this just an innate character trait that you have, or do you feel that this is just something that built over time of experiences you had in your life and you built up this internal fortitude?
That's a good question. And really that determination, that internal fortitude is what keeps you going whenever you don't think you can do it anymore. And I feel like I've had that for years. But I never realized that I had so much of it. Okay. And I think it's in every one of us. I mean, that's what I say. It's inside of you. It's inside of each and every person. You just have to get it out of there. You got to pull it out. And that's what I would say. My mother was a real positive thinker. We had some struggles in life, like we all do. And no matter what, she always, saw the silver lining. And so I learned a lot from my mother about these things. But I do always, and I remind people, you got to think about the positive. I'm really big on being positive.
Yes.
There's turn it around, whatever it is, you can turn it around into a positive. Don't put a bunch of negative crap out there into the universe. I say no old speak. That's kind of my little phrase I like to use. Don't speak it. Don't put it out there. We all have aches and pains. You don't have to verbalize them, because I think that makes it tougher. But really, I do feel like, maybe I have some extra internal fortitude, but it's not something that that I've always had so strongly. I feel like it's developed really with my challenges over the years. You know, I feel like every challenge we have, you can make a choice about, well, I'm going to let it beat me, or I'm going to get on top of it. And I feel like that's what we need to remember, that we need to make the most of every moment. And whenever something seems terrible, you know, try to figure out what's the good part out of it. You know, what can I learn from this? I mean, this is not anything new, what I'm saying, but I do feel like this is something that can be developed, and I feel like I developed it. I was wimpy at 19. I was married to a dominating husband who told me what to do, told me what to wear, told me what to eat, and I was scared. But I grew out of it. I got stronger with these challenges. And I feel like everyone can get stronger, but you just have to remind yourself. I mean, I'm big on sticky notes. I have them all over my house. You give yourself reminders, whatever you have to do to remind yourself that you're awesome and loving. You know, I say love yourself like you love your best friend. These are just things I feel like we can learn and grow and develop more, regardless of our age. I don't feel like you have to have it. I think it can be developed, and it'll make a big difference in your life.
Most definitely. And that's beautiful. I think your internal fortitude and in your belief systems are what set the foundation for the habits and the way that you live your life, right? And how your life pans out, and really how your perspective about how things are happening, they're either happening to you or they're happening for you. And you can either take that lesson and move forward, or you just stay stuck. And it sounds like you've done a really good job at cultivating that belief system and that mindset.
Well, one of the things too, when I had that back surgery, now people, a lot of times they say, okay, after back surgery, you can't do anything, you know, your life's over. And I never looked at it like that. I was grateful to have it because it helped me a lot. And that's whenever I felt like, okay, well, this could be the beginning of the best of everything, because that problem is gone, which was spondylolisthesis. Spondylolisthesis was my diagnosis. But anyway, so you don't have even the worst thing that you think is the worst thing could be the beginning of the best thing in your life. And so you just got to keep reminding yourself of that and trying to keep looking for that light at the end of the tunnel, or, you know, whatever, that silver lining. I just think we can learn from all these challenges, and they make us so much stronger.
Definitely. And your mindset, AKA your brain, is your internal computer that essentially is so much more responsive with what you're saying to yourself and what the words that you're putting out to the world. You start to believe those things and they become true, and you start to create a story. And you have to decide what kind of story you want to create, right? Do you want to create this story of pity me? I had a back surgery. I'm not going to be able to move. Life is going to be tough. Everything's going to hurt. I'm never going to be able to do these things again. And while I think that's normal, even for the strongest of people to have that whisper, it's when you can start changing the dialogue that you have with yourself and the stories that you and your brain are coming up with, to where you start to build this internal fortitude. And something you mentioned earlier, which is something that I've used probably my entire bodybuilding career, honestly, 11, 12 years, is visualization. And I think a lot of people kind of like, that's woo-woo, that's dumb, I'm not going to do that. But I had heard an IFBB pro talk about it. I believe it was Erin Stern years ago, years ago, when she was doing figure, and she was one that I aspired to. And she had talked about visualization, and I just got so hooked on that concept. And so I started utilizing that. I would lay in bed, I would watch myself walk across stage. I would watch myself go through the posing routine. I would watch them call me for first call outs. I would watch them hand me a trophy. I would get so I would involve all my senses. What does it smell like? I can smell the tan. I can see the lights. I can see the expediter. I can see the judges. I can see the girls around me, to the finite details. And
awesome.
Whether that's, who's to say, but so many athletes use it. It is a widely used technique. And I would love to hear your experience with that.
Well, I feel the same way you do about it. And I think, in fact, one of my posing coaches, she mentioned something to me. Okay, well, whenever you're practicing your posing, you're visualizing that you're on that stage, and you know those judges are there, and you're looking at them, and you're making eye contact, and so you do all that. I've got goosebumps just
Me
talking
too.
about
I know.
It's so cool. And then by the time you go on stage, well, you've already been on stage because you've had it in your mind. You've already, you've imagined it, and to the detail, you're doing it so well with all the details. And I think the more you can visualize all those details, the smell, the lights and all that, the better. And I do believe in it. I mean, I think it, you kind of manifest, that's kind of a word, manifest, but I feel like you've already done it. I mean, like you said, famous athletes do this. You've already won, you've already done it, you've already received the trophy, all that stuff. And I feel like the more you're doing of that, the more successful you're going to be. So I totally 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great tool. I think it's underutilized a lot. And it also helps, I feel like, at least for myself personally, building in this internal belief system, like I can do this, right? And sort of letting those loud, I know we're getting a little crazy woo-woo here, but letting those loud voices that maybe you have, right? Like I have this story of I was a single mom and I was overweight and I, had all these struggles going through life, but I wanted to disassociate with that as part of like who I identified now. That's not me anymore. That's part of my story. It's an important piece of it and it made me who I am, but I can't carry that mindset into something like a bodybuilding competition, for example, or any goals that I'm setting and live in that, right? Live in that mindset of lack and I'm not good enough and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because a lot of people struggle with self-love and self-belief. And I think having a support system is super important. It sounds like your mom was super positive. So I think that's great for laying that foundation, but the day in, day out work still has to be done by yourself,
That's right. It does.
Yeah.
You're really alone doing it. I mean, support is great, but you're the person who has to lift the weights and who has to go to the gym every day, who has to do your meal prep, who has to do all that. That's right. You got to put the work in. I mean,
yeah.
And I feel like once you make that decision, it's a decision. It's like, well, whenever, anyway, it's like when you've had a belly full of whatever the worst thing is, when you've had enough, then that's when you're going to make your decision that's going to propel you to do all those awesome things. And once you make that decision, and it's really about self-love, it's really about, and I mean, I struggle with it every day still. I mean, we can't escape it.
Work in progress.
That's right. I'm a work in progress. We're going to be till the day we die. And I just feel like you just have to, the minute you start hearing that little negative voice, you have to squash it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can have a pity party for a little while. We all do that. We deserve that, and whatever you do for that, you do it. And then you put it behind you and you say, okay, that's enough. And you move on. And I don't know. I just think that we just have to remind ourselves about how we're worth it. And women especially, I feel like women, we struggle with all that stuff. And it's because, it's just the way it is. And it's still a man's world, but women are coming back strong. We're amazing. And I feel like, okay, so I'm 71, almost 72 doing this stuff later in life. And I think there's going to be a whole lot more of me in another 10 years, 20 years, because if you look at you're now doing it. So this is just going to carry over, and eventually NPC is going to have to come up with some 65 plus, damn it.
Most definitely. Definitely.
I know. I campaigned for that. They didn't want to hear it. But
I love that.
Over time, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen because women are taking care of themselves more. We're deciding that we are worth it. We're doing all the right things. We're putting ourselves first. We're having more boundaries because we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. We're not sitting back and listening like in the 50s, whenever my mom raised us, we begged her to leave our dad because he was mean and she would never do it, So So, but none of that stuff matters because really, like you said, that narrative of our past or negative past, well, that's in the past. That's history. Yeah, great. That's who made you who you are today. But you can do something about where you are today and forward. So forget about all that history. That's the past and what's happening today and what do you see for your future. And we can all do that. Absolutely.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Now, I know you did mention the health challenges you had throughout your journey, your surgeries and things like that. Did you face any other challenges in this journey? Like socially, your friend group, your family, social media, anything in that realm come up challenge wise? Because there's a lot of stigmas around the bodybuilding community. And I imagine as we age and the group of, the circle we hang in, if they're not enmeshed in that, they're like, what are you doing? Crazy.
That is so true. And actually, Diane, I didn't tell any of my peers. I told a few, like 3 girls who were like 20 years younger than me that were in this separate group of friends. They knew I was going to compete, but I did not tell all these friends of mine that I travel with, that I dance with. I kept that all to myself. I remember I went to Cabo during my prep and nobody knew. So I didn't want to share it because I didn't want any negative input. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want any of that. So I just kept it myself. And then after I competed, then I posted a little bit on Facebook, which is where my friends, were looking. And then I posted most everything on Instagram after that because I wanted my separate fitness thing over here. All those bikini pics are a lot for 65 and 70-year-olds to deal with, and that's what you're talking about. I didn't know how my friends were going to react to it. They already knew that I was into fitness. They knew that, and nobody ever really gave me a hard time about it. But I felt like there was a handful of people who just might be very judgy, and I didn't want to hear any of that, and so I didn't. But now that it's all done and everybody knows, I still don't post much on my personal Facebook page. I don't do my everyday there. It's mostly on IG, but probably 99% of these friends are supportive. And I'm grateful, but that's because they know me. They already knew me. They probably don't know what to think about it, really. The ones, there's just barely a percentage that's even insignificant, I think, that isn't in agreement. And, I never feel like I need anyone's approval to do whatever I want to do.
Amen.
And as you get older, it's the same. It's like, just like wearing a bikini. I think I put that on, I did an Instagram post. Whenever I think about somebody judging me for wearing a bikini at 71, I think about it for a split second and then I forget about it. It's like you just let that go. And the older you get, the easier it becomes to feel that way. You don't need anyone's approval. You just yourself. It's how you feel inside about you. You do not need any of that approval. Those people don't matter. What matters is you and how you feel about yourself. And we're pretty damn awesome. And we just need to keep reminding ourselves of that.
Such a great mindset. And I think more women need to embody that. It helps you prevent that, I guess, disease of worrying about what everybody else thinks, right? It's I worry about what people think in the sense of like, I want to make sure my family's good and like there isn't any disrupt to the family unit. And, but as far as like strangers and things like that, it's like, what are you doing? You just on a rocking chair, being unhappy with your life, wanting to talk shit about me wearing a bikini, keep rotting your life away. Right. Like,
right.
It's like a deflective mechanism that it took me a long time to build. Right. Because I was so worried about what people think. I didn't have friends in high school. So yeah, but I think living that way gives you such peace of mind because you can be authentic in who you are and what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It feels good. The more you believe in yourself and the less you worry about what anyone else thinks. Absolutely.
For sure. Now, when it comes to motivation and discipline, what do you struggle with that? Right. Because if anybody lands on Renee's Instagram, you are like all about just get up and take charge of your life and very much inspiring. Right. But does Renee wake up every morning excited to go to the gym and do cardio and hit her steps and do all the things? Do you have like a renewed sense of motivation because you had a life where you were sort of stuck by physical limitations, or do you struggle ever now?
Well, I have days that I'm not into it. I would say that, but in general, I wake up the same every day, and I do the same thing. I'm a very, ritualized person. As I'm getting out of the bed, I'm making up the bed. I do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing, and I don't give a lot of negative thought. I mean, I would say I'm pretty much happy most of the time, and really discipline has kicked in here with my workouts. I mean, and really COVID kind of helped with that because I was pretty much a workaholic for years. I mean, it's, a small business of my own. And it was everything. I needed to take care of my son and all that. So really, as time went on and we couldn't go to the office, that kind of forced me to stay away. And that was sort of a help, actually, because Garrett, my son, he runs the business now. So, I mean, I help a little bit. But he does most of it. But the main thing is I was ritualized. I was already going to the gym a few times a week from work, right? I had that was committed. At that time, I was working my schedule around my workouts. I was going to see my clients, but I was going to be making sure that I'm lifting weights a few times a week, even then. And so I was making an appointment with myself. And then once I pretty much retired, I was fearful. Okay, can I even retire? I don't know if I can let that work go. Golly, what will happen? But now my routine is very much the same. I get up and I'm going to do the same thing every morning, and I'm going to the gym Monday through Friday, pretty much every morning. I'm probably going to be working out somewhere around 10, and that's me every day. And so I don't have any big problem getting to the gym. It's just part of my life. It's the lifestyle, right? It is just part of it. It's not like I want to lose 10 pounds for the wedding that's coming up in 2-3 months. That is not what it is. It's all about, I love feeling good. I love being fit. And I'm going to keep doing this. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, until I die. I'm going to be lifting weights till I die. And it's so good. It's the fountain of youth is how I feel about it. I mean, all my friends that I do things with, they are amazed at me. And I'm amazed. I can't even believe I'm this old. And I just feel like it's so much to do with lifting weights and the good nutrition. I mean, eating your protein, it's not rocket science. That's what I tell people. This is not rocket science. You just have to do things consistently long enough and do the right things, and think your body's a side effect of all that. However your body looks, that's just simply going to happen because you're doing all those things for your health. It's not that hard, but people they don't think ahead enough. They think now, okay, I got to do it now. Well, you're going to start now, but think about how good you're going to look in 6 months, how good you're going to feel in 6 months. And when you're my age and older, it starts being about, are you going to be alive? Are you going to be able to walk? Are you going to be able to get out of bed? What kind of illnesses are going to strike you that will be permanently changing your life as long as you're still on this earth? So those are all things that are, to me, my mortality is not down there 20 or 30 years down the road, which hopefully it is. It's like here, So how old are you?
45.
45. Okay. So you got a long way to go, but for me, it's like, it's here. So even more important to not waste a day. And you got the extra time at 45. And that's what I would tell people in your age grade. You got time, get busy now. If you're not busy, you have time. Even if you wait as 58 or 60, you can still do it. it'd be better to start early, because the earlier you start, the better you're going to feel when you are in your 70s.
Right. And prevent a lot of the health issues that come as you age, right? Where
Absolutely.
a lot of our society now is just like, okay, well, tell me what pill I need to take. And then I'm just going to keep doing the bad things I've been doing to my body, because this pill is just going to fix the problem when it just creates more problems. Right.
Yes,
I tell
absolutely.
people, to what you were saying, a point that you made earlier, I tell them the problem is that it's so simple, but it is not easy, because if you have, for us, it comes easy now because we've established this as discipline and habits, and it's just how we eat now, and it's become our lifestyle. But if you take somebody who's been inactive, unhealthy, maybe diabetic or high cholesterol, all these things, they have all the odds are stacked against them. If the task seems insurmountable, right? There's just too much I have to do. And it's really just stop overcomplicating things. It's simple. You don't have to become a bodybuilder, but if you want to improve your health, it's just very specific pillars that you have to set in stone. So, which leads me to my next question for you. What are your current health, fitness, gym, non-negotiable habits, right? Like, for example, some people say, well, I make sure I get this many steps a day, or I make sure I drink this much water, or I spend this much time in the gym. Are there certain unwritten but written rules in your mind where okay, I need to get this done before the end of the day?
Yeah, definitely. Now, one is that I'm going to eat my food, and I log my food. And so I'm going to make sure I have my protein, my 5 proteins during the course of the day. Before and after I work out, I'm going to have some protein and some carbs, both before and after. That's non-negotiable. I used to never eat breakfast. I'm always going to be eating my breakfast, and I'm carrying my water with me everywhere I go. I've got it with me. And I bring my food with me. Like if I go to the gym and I know I'm going to do some stuff after that, I've got my next meal in a little lunch thing with me at all times. So I'm going to make sure I get my food. I'm going to be hydrated. I'm going to get my gallon of water a day. I'm going to be lifting some weights at least, 5 days a week, maybe 6, depending on what's going on. If I'm competing or whatever I'm going to do. I could probably do less of that, but I don't want to.
It's a habit now. Yeah.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
It's a habit. And then cardio, we do too much cardio. We don't need to do as much cardio as we do. And I've been doing too much cardio because I gained a few extra pounds and I keep doing too much cardio, but I got reminded today, I only need 20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So walking is great, and I talk about 14,000 steps as my minimum, which is kind of the minimum I give myself. But in the course of my day, I'm going to get that 14,000 steps in between the elliptical at the gym and walking the dog and just moving around the world that I move into. So I get that, but definitely the lifting weights, the eating, the protein, and the hydration, and moving your body. Those are non-negotiables every day for me.
How about sleep? I'm sure that's a priority too.
It is. And you know what? It's something that I'm still struggling with. And
most of us high functioning people struggle with that.
And I've been to a sleep clinic and he says, you don't have sleep apnea. You've got some kind of emotional insomnia, It is. These wheels just won't stop turning, So, so that is my big struggle still is sleep. And I know if I could get, I get maybe 5 or 6 hours, and this is terrible. And I know it, and I don't recommend anybody do it, but I'm still working on that. So hopefully I'll get some more sleep eventually. I'm not going to give up on the concept of it.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said earlier, we're always aiming to improve, and this is an area you're doing phenomenal at all the areas. So I think we'll work on sleep, right? Like it'll
we're going to work on.
Yeah, 5 and 6 hours is still pretty good. I know some people that aren't even getting that, right? That listen. So what is your favorite part about being a bikini competitor at your age? What draws you to getting on stage?
Well, it's so hard. I don't love getting on stage. I don't love that. I haven't gotten that comfort level. It's still so hard for me. But really, it's kind of like so unbelievable that I'm doing this at my age. So it kind of gets me excited because I had no idea I would inspire even one person when I did this in my first comp. I had no idea. I just wanted to get through that show. And so I am really thrilled with the fact that I can show people how they can have hope. And so I feel like I'm giving people hope, women mostly, but men too, that they can do anything at any age. And even if it's get on stage in a sparkly bikini when you're scared to death, you can do it. So to me, it's part of the fact that I'm able to inspire people. It's like, it keeps me going whenever I think, oh, do I want to do this anymore? I mean, I've only been doing it a short time, but then whenever I hear something positive about how I've inspired someone, well, I've got to keep doing it. I just the very fact that I have this health, that I am where I'm at today, it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like my obligation, which I know I don't have to do it, but to me, it's like, I've been sort of given a gift here. I mean, I've put some things together with the help of the universe to be like this. So I feel like I need to share that with people. And so when I get on stage or whatever it is, it's going to help other people think that they can do it too, that they can do things that they never imagined they could do. I never imagined I would ever do this. So it's just, to me, I'm just so tickled that I can do that for other people, that I can give them some hope that they can do it too, whatever they want to do, even if it seems crazy, they can do it.
Yeah. And that's why you're here, because I don't know how I stumbled upon your Instagram, but I did. And I'm like, I need to interview this lady. She's a badass. She is who I want to be when I am 70. Okay. But definitely. And to that point, so you have like 45,000 followers on Instagram. Like, how did you just build some momentum and traction to just attract? I'm assuming this was all organically, right? Like you organically accumulated followers.
I did. I'm also kind of shocked about that. I remember when I first put my Instagram, I had a personal Instagram, but then I said, okay, I need to do a fitness Instagram because these friends of mine, they can't handle the sparkly bikini stuff all day long. I knew that. That's why I'm not posting on Facebook, any of that. I mean, very little of it. So I did a fitness page and I started just posting a few things, my first competition, 69 and all that. And that sort of generated something. And I remember when I first opened up that Instagram account, I thought, I'd like to get at least 100 followers. That's my goal. I want to have 100 followers. That's what I said. I remember that. It's like, okay, well, what does it take? How can I do it? And I'm posting, I'm learning about, you can read, how do you get followers? But so I knew if I posted some things, even though I didn't know what I was doing, that people notice. And, you have to use some hashtags. I mean, this Instagram thing, I still struggle with it, but it's just crazy. But anyway, so I just remember, okay, I'd like to get 100 followers. I'd feel good if I had 100 followers. And I got 100 followers. And then the next thing you know, I had another 100. And time went on and people noticed. And I found out I'm inspiring people. People are inspired by me. And it just flabbergasted me. So basically people, I started getting some interviews. People were interviewing me, like you are doing today. And because apparently, this is one thing I want to tell you. So when I was before I was going to compete, when Dustin was encouraging me to compete, and I'm 60, 61, 62, and all those years, I wouldn't compete, he kind of did me a favor. He did not tell me that nobody starts competing at 69 years old. That women do not compete in bikini shows at 69. He never told me that.
He believed
all
in
those
you.
Years. I guess he did. He just never told me, because I realized when it was all over with, I mean, I'm up there and I'm 69 and these women are 50 and 55. I'm going, I'm not even close. I don't even know what I'm doing. So I'm grateful to him for that, because if he'd have said, Renee, this is not going to be easy, there's going to be women so much younger than you, get ready, He didn't tell me that. So that's a good thing. And I've lost my track of where I was going to go with this story.
Oh, we were talking about your followers. Your Instagram.
Yeah. So anyway, so people started wanting to talk to me and interview, and all that. And so that got a little attention. And then the UK Daily Mail, they did an article about me, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And that sort of got some interest. So one thing led to another. And I've probably done 20 of these podcast interviews over the past couple of years. And some articles have been, written here and there. And I post, that's the other thing. I post reels, and I'm just learning how to do it. And it gets easier. But really, it's just kind of happening as I've gotten older, and now I'm getting fitter. Now that's another thing. People have in their minds, I can't get any muscle. I'm too old. Every year I'm going to get older. There's all those statistics. I don't think like that. I don't think like that at all. That does not occur to me that, oh my God, I'm not going to have any muscle when I'm 75. That's not in my brain. Mm-hmm. So that's the other part. I'm just not thinking like that. And I look better than I did a year ago or 2 years ago because I'm lifting. I'm doing all the things that I'm doing. I'm getting my DEXA scans to see what my muscle, how much muscle I got and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it just happened. It's just sort of like caught on. And also when people do reach out to me, unless they're weirdos, which there's some of those too.
Yeah, those happen.
I try to respond and talk to them because I'm here for a purpose. I can help other people too. Now I tell people I'm not a coach. I'm not a trainer. I'm not going to share macros with you because everything is different. That's what you go get a trainer for. But don't get hung up on that. You need to just start moving and lifting some weights and eating some good food. So I am, you can tell I'm an outgoing person, and so I'm open and I'm here to help. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm here to help.
You're doing amazing.
I'm loving it. I still have to say, this is like, I'm living my best life now. My life has begun like never before. And if I can share anything that might help other people and give them hope, then I'm just thrilled to get to do that. So, it's just, I have gotten more people following me, but, I tell them, I don't think they're my followers. That's like, I'm not the Pied Piper. I just feel like they're my friends here, that we share something together. And if I can help them in any way, I want to do it. And I'm grateful for all that. And hopefully that will help people know that they can do anything at any age.
I love that message. So wonderful. Now, let's end on a great note. Any final parting words? I know you have given so much motivation and inspiration, but anything else that I maybe left out that you feel like you wanted to leave here?
Well, I would just say the big thing is that you don't give up on yourself, no matter what. We're going to get down. We all get down, and I just feel like people give up on themselves way too soon. Don't give up on yourself ever. Get up every day. Do what you can. I know I'm feeling good. I don't hurt a lot. Some other people might hurt more. You just keep loving yourself. I say love yourself like you love your best friend. And the no old speak. Don't talk it. Don't say it. Don't talk about your aches and pains all the time. Nobody wants to hear that. You talk about good stuff and just treat yourself. Love yourself. That's the main thing. Self-love, self-care, do good things for yourself. Put yourself first. That is self-care and self-love. That's not selfish. So that's a big thing. People have to get used to doing that.
I love that. Not selfish. It's self-care. Wonderful. Where can everyone find you over on the gram? If that's where you usually hang out, do you have a website or just Instagram?
I have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's the same name, but it's like, I don't even know how to edit anything. So I haven't done much with it. I want to do more with it. I need a person, a technology person.
Yeah.
But anyway, so a YouTube and my Instagram, they're the same name. It's Renee Fit at 70, ReneeFitat 70.
Okay.
And that's where you find me. And I will try to respond to anyone and everyone. And like I said, I'm not a trainer, I'm not a coach, but I'm here to inspire you. And if I can help you in any way, you know, I want to do it.
I love that. Well, we will link all that up in the show notes so everyone can find you and go befriend
Okay.
you and go say hi and tell you that they found you on the podcast. Because I know I've been inspired and I've shared your reels and things on my Instagram stories, and I get lots of feedback about how incredible that is. So you're doing the work, and I appreciate you for sharing all that and coming on today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I'm thrilled to get to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Well, you have a great day and keep kicking ass. We'll be looking for updates, and I'm sure you're going to be on stage soon. I can't wait to see it.
Okay. You take care.
All right, you too. Bye, Renee.
Bye.
Bye.